yourself. You have a very difficult time. You getting up at 11:30 and coming here is one battle. If you do not know it. Sometimes, how difficult is it to wake up for Qaddasi? Is it easy? You just go, ah. The most comfortable sleep I get is Saturday nights. The best possible sleep. The whole week I don't sleep. I was telling them I couldn't sleep this past few days, but I guarantee you tonight I'm going to have the best sleep of my life because the devil doesn't want me to wake up for Qaddasi. The bed seems more comfortable. The pillows is amazing. It's like clouds. It's amazing. It just hugs you. It's like, stay. You don't have to go this week. You can go next week. What are you going to lose for living? We always have this thing. When the next week comes, the same mentality happens. You missed it last week. You're going to be judged. Might as well not go this week. You will try next week. And then with this mentality, we get farther and farther away from God. And then there is inconsistency even in our prayers, in our communication with God. One day we miss a prayer, the next day we completely forget about it. All of us, we say we pray. When do we really pray? All of us say we fast. What is fasting? It's a dietary restriction for all of us. This is a question that we ask, sometimes when I have a conversation with my friends. How's the fast? And they're like, oh, it's amazing. I lost 15 pounds. I'm like, that's not the point of fasting. It's incredible, best fast. I'm in the great shape. No, it's good that you are physically fit, but that's not the purpose of fasting. It is to make sure your soul is strong. And prayer is making sure you are communicating with God. It's so unfortunate we are in these circumstances, in these situations. For you to have a good communication with God, you must at least have these three things. The very first one is you have to have a specific time. You have to set a specific time to communicate with God. Right? We don't do this Habasha time nonsense, right? The Habasha time, you call somebody like, oh, let's meet up at 10. What time do we show up as Ethiopians in their trains? 12, thank you. There's a 2-hour gap that we have to fulfill. If the event is 4 p.m., what time do we show up? 6 p.m. It's a must. We call it Habasha time. But God does not function that way. Whenever you pray, you are calling unto God. What is the very first word of our prayer? The prayer of Jesus Christ that taught us in the Gospel of Matthew. What do we say? Abbatachen? Or our Father who is in heaven. In this moment, you are calling Him. So the moment you call God, what is He going to do? Is He going to look away? No. He's going to see you. Because He is all-powerful, right? Omniscient, omnipresent, present everywhere. Of course He's going to see you. He's going to leave everything and He pays attention to you. You called His name. Therefore, He's going to hear you. He's going to listen to you. Just like, for example, if your friend, or if you call your friend, right? Auntie, right? If I call somebody's name, they would turn, right? How would you feel if you call somebody and they do not turn? They are? What do we call those people? Disrespectful, yeah? Are they respecting you? If you call somebody by their name and if they do not turn, that is a disrespectful person. Imagine calling unto God and Him not turning. It would be disrespectful. Imagine then calling Him turning, and you just not being present. That's how we are most of the time. Whenever we are praying, we're not really present. Whenever we're reciting our prayers, we're reading our prayer books, we're not really present. We think about something else. Whenever we are reading our Bible, presently our mind is not there. Have you ever read a book? You've read a whole page, but you know nothing of it? If somebody asks you, what did you read in this page? You'll be like, I have zero clue. I've read it, but I have no idea what it says. Why do you think that is? Mentally, we're not there. Imagine that kind of conversation. This is the prayer that we have. Of course, there is no communication with God. Of course, you're going to feel like you're not talking to Him and God is not hearing you because you're not communicating with Him. One of the biggest issues is that you're not setting specific time. For example, whenever you have a study time, there is a certain time, specific time. You get up for work, for school at a specific time. If your class starts at 8:30, do you go to class at 10:30? Do you? No. Why? Why not?
Because school.
Would the class exist at 10:30? No. The professor would leave. You're not going to tell him it's Habasha time. You don't understand, I'm Habasha. You have to understand. No, it's not going to work that way. When you schedule a class at 8:30, what time do you show up for class?
8:30.
8:30. So therefore, for a prayer, for everything that you do spiritually, you also need to set time. It's not an extracurriculum activity that you do. spiritual things, coming to church, praying, fasting. It's not one of those things. It has to be a priority. There has to be a time. 6:30 a.m. I'm going to pray to God. Nothing can come between that time and your schedule. Nothing should. So you must set a specific time. And you have to honor and respect that time. God will be present in that time. If you say 6:30 is my prayer time, God, I'm going to have a communication with you at 6:30. God will be there at 6:30 to listen to your prayers. We understand? We're on the same page? Secondly, whenever you are praying, set a specific place. A lot of the time, now I don't know, for some odd reason, we're getting lazier and lazier with our prayers. I remember sometimes, when we started praying, trying to connect with God, we used to be strong spiritually. We used to stand in front of our icons. We used to pray. Now when do we pray? Right? Sometimes we forget we're in bed. And then we just fall asleep, right? That's a terrible thing. Because we're getting, complacent. Too comfortable. Right? The place is not there. You're not going to communicate. You can't talk to your friend in the bed. That doesn't make any sense. Why would we do that to God? It's very disrespectful. It's a very disingenuine type of communication with God. So you have to make sure you set a certain time and a certain place. Even when you study, do you study at home? How many of us have a very difficult time to study at home? Because we get distracted very easily. So where do we usually stay? Study. Library sometimes. Most of us go to coffee shops, yes? To do work, to study. We have a certain place. Because when we go to those places, we are focused. We're focused. If we're at home, we're distracted by everything. In the same manner, think of it. When you are doing a prayer, if you are by your bed, the only thing that you're going to be thinking about is sleep. If you have distractions around you, it's very difficult. Therefore, you must set a place. This is why our forefathers, our parents, they have a prayer room. Do they not? Do they not? They have a prayer room. They have their icons and their walls, all these things, to help them focus. A lot of people think we worship all these icons that we have within our homes. That's not the case. It helps you focus. Whenever you see the saints, you know that they dedicated their lives, sacrificed their lives. They prayed ceaselessly, continuously, non-stop, and they understood the importance of prayer and communicating with Him. So when you see them, you also focus. When you see Takla Haymanut standing in one foot and praying, there is no way you're going to sit and pray. It's impossible for you. But because we avoid these things, we don't have this place. We start praying where we feel comfortable and we get distracted. So this is very important. Your personal battle begins here. Also, when you have a certain... Your mentality is the very first thing. If you do not believe in prayer, why are you wasting your time praying? What's the point? You have to believe whatever you ask. This is what Jesus Christ says. Whatever you ask in my name, it will be given to you. Did He say sometimes it will be given to you? No, He said it will be given to you. Whatever you do, ask. But most of us, we ask without any type of intention. We do not mean it. We're not even sure our prayer will arise. We're not even sure He exists. We're not even sure He's listening. This is our personal weakness. We cannot even defeat ourselves. Our personal self is our biggest weakness. Therefore, it's important to collaborate prayer and fasting, prostration, charitable works. All these things are essential for your spiritual life. You become strong. Your spirit, your flesh working together, you are a complete being, like we talked about yesterday. That means you can do anything. This is why Jesus Christ says, when they were marveling at every miracle that He was doing, do not marvel at this. He said, if you have the slightest of faith, a faith like a mustard seed. Do you guys know what a mustard seed is? It's a very tiny seed. He says, if you have a faith as much as a mustard seed, if you tell this mountain to move, what will happen to the mountain? It will definitely move. And we've seen this actually in the 12th century with Simeon, an Egyptian, amazing Christian. Go look up his story. It's in the Synaxarium for, I believe, maybe October 13th or so, around that time in the Synaxarium, right? So this person actually moved mountains with his prayer. Remember the story of Peter as well. When he saw Jesus walking on the water, what did he say to Jesus Christ? He says, Lord, call me to you so I can also walk on water. And Christ actually indeed called him to walk on the water. And Peter actually took a few steps, right, on the water. But what happened the moment he doubted? Right? This fleshly understanding. He's like, what if I drowned? That moment got into his mind. What happened to him? Right away he drowned. The what if, the doubt in his faith, when that happened, he started drowning. And he says, Lord, help me. And Christ pulled him out. That is the same thing. Don't have this mentality, is he going to hear me? Is he up there? Is he listening? Does he care about me? No, that mentality needs to go away. Pray with intention. Set time,